Hey guys, what's going on? Edison T. Crux here, and I'm doing part 2 of my 3-part series on how to live healthy on a budget. The first part of the video that I did was talking about the hidden expenses behind an unhealthy diet and really how much being unhealthy is costing you. And today, in the second part of this video series, I want to give you some ideas of some cost-effective foods you can get that are really healthy and will benefit you and are not very expensive. Things that you can really fit into your diet, which is really cool. You probably already noticed I'm rocking a SpongeBob bandage. It's because I cracked my head earlier and, yeah, not so good. So in case I lose consciousness in the middle of this video and forget everything, at least there'll be a video of it, right? So first, before we can really determine what are cheap, healthy things you can eat, we want to have some basic idea of what healthy means. You know, there's a million different kinds of diets. There's so much different information out there that can be really tough to figure out what is healthy. Which, to me, I find funny, because it's a really simple process. If you really think about it, feeding ourselves is our most basic need. It's right up there, at least. So we really overcomplicate a really, really simple thing. And it all boils down to this, basically. Eat real food. That's it. That's really all it comes down to. Eat food that your ancestors would recognize, you know? Eat foods like whole grains and plants and meat and dairy products and things like that. Eat real food that comes from nature. If it comes from a factory, it's not real food. It is a consumable food-like product, but it's not real food. At least it's not going to be as nutritious. So stay away from anything that is processed, any kind of processed foods. Basically, if you shop on the outside edges of a grocery store, produce aisle, meat area, dairy area, all that stuff, then you're mostly going to be fine. You just want to be careful when you're going down the inside aisles. That's where all the processed stuff is. So steer clear of that as much as you can. So now that we have an idea of what healthy food is, let's think about and try to find some ways or some different kinds of foods that are actually really affordable, that are also super healthy. And top of the list, we have beans. They're one of my favorite budget-friendly superfoods. They are immensely nutritious. There are so many benefits. Again, check out the blog post that goes along with this video. There should be a link in the description. Check out the blog post. I've got links to even more info and details, but beans are wonderfully nutritious. They have tons of protein. They are a really great thing, and they are super cheap. Buy them dry beans in bulk, and you soak them overnight and then cook them. That makes it seem like it takes time, but it doesn't take any real effort. Like, we're talking 5-10 minutes of actual time working on it, and the rest is just sitting there. Doesn't take much, and you can make a big batch, and it's super cheap. We're talking, let's see what I figured, like for a $3 bag of bulk beans, I can get at least 10 meals out of that. That's dirt cheap, so that's a really, really good option. Another great one is brown rice. That's right up there. It's super cheap, super good for you, lots of great benefits to it. And those two together work really well because the protein in beans it's what's called an incomplete protein, and the protein in rice kind of fills in the gap. So those two together work really good. But it's also an immensely cheap and healthy food you can eat. Much better than just plain white rice. It's a little bit more expensive, yes, but it's a whole lot more nutritious, and it's still not expensive. It only looks more expensive when you compare it to the really, 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 really cheap white rice. Brown rice is still very, very cheap. You can get a lot of bang for your buck going with white rice. Or going with brown rice. Wow. Next thing on there that is a absolute staple, in my opinion, is eggs. Eggs are an amazing superfood. They are cheap. I mean, you can get a ton of eggs for not much money. They are delicious, and you can do them in a million different ways. Tons of recipes. You know, you can do them hard-boiled, fried, poached, omelet, whatever. And they are so healthy. Again, the blog post that goes with this has even more details on it, but they're a great bet. If you make up a batch of hard-boiled eggs, keep them in the fridge, And you've got a superfood snack ready to go anytime you need it. So that's another really great option. Another one, leafy green vegetables. We're talking things like kale and spinach and turnip greens and mustard greens and romaine lettuce and leafy green lettuce, those kinds. Stay away from the iceberg. Iceberg lettuce is kind of nil when it comes to nutrition. But all those other green vegetables, oh my gosh, they are so good for you. And some people think that they're kind of, it's too expensive to buy those. I don't really know where that logic comes from. Maybe it's that they don't eat enough of them. Now, for me, I sometimes, just this week actually, I got like a $3 bag of mixed leafy greens, pre-washed, ready to go, the works. And I do a portion for me is 4 cups. That's a lot of greens. 4 cups with dinner. And I have a little bit extra with dinner. And that's a lot of greens, and it fills me up. And that $3 bag is giving me like at least 5 or more meals. And that's the bulk of what a meal is. That's a really good deal in my book. So, and if you get them bulk and you wash them yourself, even better savings. So they really are a cost-effective thing, particularly if they're replacing other unhealthy foods. Because then you're still going to spend the money on food, but you're spending it on this instead, and you're eating enough of it that it fills you up, and it gives you the nutrition, and it really doesn't cost more. In fact, it costs less still than you probably were spending before. Another great one, fresh fruits and vegetables. We're talking apples, bananas, carrots, eggplants, sweet potatoes. Oh my gosh, that is the good stuff right there, seriously. Most of that stuff is pretty cheap. In the big scope of things, it's not that expensive. And they make great sides. You have a side of one of those things with your lunch or dinner or breakfast or whatever. You could have an extra serving of the vegetables particularly. Make it a whole meal of vegetables. That's a great way to go. And they also are a great snack. You grab a banana. You grab an apple. Something like that. A little baggie of carrots. Take that with you when you're going out places. And then if you get hungry while you're out and about, instead of instinctively pulling into the drive-thru, you have a healthy snack that is way cheaper and way better for you. So they're an absolute great staple. And again, not very expensive. Another one that's a really interesting one is the raw seeds and nuts. Things like raw almonds and walnuts and pecans and all that good stuff. Make sure you get the raw ones. Usually you can find those by the baking aisle. Nothing roasted or anything like that. That's not as good for you. Now these might seem like less of a value because a 1 pound bag of raw nuts is going to cost you somewhere around maybe $6, maybe $9, depending on what kind of nut you're going for. So that seems expensive, seeing as you could probably sit there, and I could probably eat a whole bag in one sitting if I really wanted to. But the thing with nuts you want to keep in mind is it's in a serving size. A 1/4 cup of nuts, like a little thing like this, about this much, less than a handful, is plenty. That's a good sized serving of nuts. If you eat them slowly, one at a time, that will fill you up, and that will be very good. And they're also super nutritious. Super, super good for you. Highly recommend it. Another great thing you can go for is canned fish. Everything from tuna to salmon to sardines to anchovies. All kinds of good stuff. Now, obviously, fresh fish is, in most cases, better. And you also don't want to do tons of fish all the time due to the mercury. But if you have some, like 2, maybe 3 times a week, that should be fine. If you're concerned about it, though, absolutely talk to your doctor first. I'm not a professional. This all should be discussed with your doctor before taking anything seriously. But generally, it seems that having that amount is not going to be a big deal for you. Another great one is homemade chicken, or really any kind of meat. But make sure you get the just raw, uncooked, unprocessed meat. I was thinking chicken, because that's a really great bet. It's usually cheaper than like beef, and it's leaner. It's a really, really good bet. So it's a really great way to go. I would recommend chicken, but you can go for whatever works for you. But try not to get something that's already cooked or prepared or flavored or whatever, just get the real stuff and do it yourself. Really doesn't take that long to throw some seasoning on some chicken, throw it in the oven, and cook it. It's not that bad. And if you really want to get some bang for your buck, purchase a whole chicken, season it up, roast that thing, put it in the oven, and carve it. It'll be the best. It'll be way tastier. And you can turn the bones into a delicious broth that are super, super good for you. So that's another really great cost-effective option. And another one that I personally find is a really great option for cost-effective superfoods is the Shakeology shake, which might seem a little out of place because it doesn't seem like it's very cheap, because it ends up being around $4 or so a serving, which sounds pretty expensive. But for what you get in there, particularly if you compare it to other like meal replacement shakes, first of all, the secret there is in meal replacement. That $4 serving isn't a complete whole meal. So remember, that's money you would be spending most of that on a meal anyway. Even if you're very budget conscious, it's hard to get a meal for much less than that anyway. So keep that in mind, that it's a replacement for a meal. And if you compare it to other meal replacement shakes, the quality of the ingredients is so much better in Shakeology. Most like meal replacement shakes, like a Slim Fast or an Ensure, if you look at the ingredients, that belongs in the category of processed food. It's part of the problem. Food-like product. Not really what you need. It's really not going to do the job for you. But Shakeology is one of the only ones that really is committed to the highest quality stuff. Now, for full disclosure, yes, I do sell Shakeology. I sell it because I love it. So does that make me overhype it? No, it really doesn't. I'm just going to tell you like it is. If you don't want to use this piece of advice, then just take the rest. It's no big deal. But I personally really enjoy it, so yes, absolutely, I sell it so I can share it. But that's really the extent of it. I'm not going to make it something it's not. But it is really good stuff, so I recommend it. And that's really a great beginning. My video's running kind of late, so I don't want to keep rambling for too long. But that's a great beginning start to seeing some of the really healthy and really affordable foods there are out there. Like I say, check out the blog post attached with this video because it's got more details than I had time to share here. But it really does not have to be hard. It does not have to be expensive to eat healthy. So I hope this was a really big help. I hope you stay tuned. The part 3 is going to be coming out about talking about really good, affordable ways to get exercise into your life. For those of you who maybe can't afford a personal trainer or don't even know where to begin, that's going to really be able to help you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please, by all means, like it, share it with your friends so everyone can join in. And if you need any help or really are struggling to achieve your health and fitness goals, whether it's for money reasons or for just getting yourself to stick with it, whatever, contact information is below. Get in touch with me. I'm happy to help you out. So until the next video comes out, take it easy, guys.